Всем привет! Hi everyone, I am Katya, I am a teacher of Russian, and today we are going to talk about accusative case, or as we say in Russian language, винительный падеж. Why I decided to start with accusative case? First of all, you asked me a lot of questions about that in Instagram, and second, this is a topic where international students and Russian language learners face a lot of challenges because nominative case is pretty easy to understand. You have just learn three genders of Russian language and be able to form plural form. Prepositional case is also pretty easy to understand and to remember. Prepositional case is used when we are talking about location. But a little bit different situation with accusative case. First situation when we use accusative case is when we are talking about some object. What I mean, as you know, in Russian language we form sentences according to structure. Subject, action, and object. For example, here we have sentence Я читаю книгу. I read a book. And in this case, я will be subject, читать, читаю will be action, and книгу, книга, it will be object. Object means something the subject makes action on or with. Or another example, он смотрит телевизор. He watches TV. In this case, TV, телевизор, will be the object because it is something that subject on makes action with. He is watching TV. And object will also have the form of accusative case. And when in Russian language we use the verb of action, for example, читать, смотреть, видеть, говорить, after these verbs we use accusative case. For example, он читает книгу, мы читаем журнал, вы смотрите телевизор, студенты обсуждают домашнее задание. But let's talk about grammar. It's pretty easy to remember because those nouns which are of masculine gender, for example, журнал, they have just same ending as nominative case. Now let's talk about grammar. The words of masculine gender don't change their ending in accusative case. For example, мы смотрим телевизор. We watch TV, and look, here we do not change anything. We just leave the word телевизор as it is in nominative case. Or another example, мы смотрим фильм. Same situation, we do not have to change the word somehow. We just leave the word in its initial form. Film. And same situation happens with neuter gender. We just do not change the ending of the word of neuter gender. For example, we write letter. Мы пишем письмо. And look, we do not change the word письмо somehow. It is just same. Or another situation, Ivan is eating mango. Ivan ест mango. And again, as you can see, we just write the word as it is. We do not add some extra endings or something like that. And it's about neuter gender and masculine gender also. Just remember that in this case, we do not add any ending for accusative case. But with feminine gender, situation is a little bit different. If word has ending a, for example, mama, we have to change a into u. And when word has ending ya, for example, тетя, aunt, in the form of accusative case, ya will change into you. Instead of mama, we have маму. Instead of тетя, we have тетю. For example, let's say in Russian language, I love mother. Я люблю subject, action, and object, which will take form of accusative case. Маму. Instead of mama, we should write маму. We have to change the ending into u. We see aunt often. Мы видим, we see, тю, aunt. Часто, often. Here we should change the initial ending to make the form of accusative case, because again, subject, action, and object, which is also having form of accusative case. Once again, masculine gender, no changes. Neuter gender, again, no changes, but feminine gender, a changes into u, and ya changes into you. And now let's remember some words after which we use accusative case. For example, любить. Любить means to love. Любить. Next, слушать. Например, слушать музыку. Listen to. Есть. To eat something. For example, есть хлеб. Есть кашу. To eat porridge. Пить. To drink something. For example, пить кофе. Neuter gender, we do not change anything. Or пить воду. Вода, it is feminine gender, but here we have to change the ending into u, because a change into u. Читать, to read. Читать книгу, читать журнал. Of course, it is not the entire list of the verbs after which we use accusative case, but for the beginning, let's remember these ones. And now I suggest you to complete one exercise to remember how we change ending of accusative case for nouns of feminine gender, because as you remember, for masculine gender and for neuter gender, we don't have to change the ending. To read the book, читать, книга, we have to change into книгу, ending у. Есть, to eat, here is pizza, to eat pizza. So to eat pizza in Russian will be есть пиццу. Listen to music. Muzika means music. We have to change into u again. So it will be слушать музыку. And one more verb to remember. Покупать, to buy something. And after покупать, we also use accusative case. Покупать bag. Сумка, but сумку. It's high time to learn one more verb, which is знать, to know. And after знать, we also use accusative case. For example, let's say I know his brother. We will say я знаю его, his брата. So when we are talking about people and animals, and in case this is the word of masculine gender, we should add ending a if this word ends with consonant letter, like брат. Я знаю его брата. Or, for example, I know her friend. Я знаю ее друг. Plus ending a, га, друга. Я знаю ее друга. But if the word of masculine gender has ending мягкий знак, soft sign, or «е», we should change it in the form of accusative case into «я». For example, I know her teacher. Учитель, it means school teacher. Я знаю ее учителя. So we have to change мягкий знак or «е» into «я». And for feminine gender, it is the same, as we have already discussed. Я люблю маму. Я знаю его тетю. I know his aunt. The endings of feminine gender we change anyway. Does not matter whether it is human, animal, or it is inanimate object. And absolutely same with neuter gender. Just one thing you should understand very well is nouns of masculine gender which are inanimate, not human and not animal, they don't change their ending in the form of accusative case. But nouns of masculine gender which indicate on person or animal like brat, друг, so something or someone alive, they change their ending in accusative case. Feminine gender nouns change their endings in accusative case. Neuter gender nouns do not change their endings in accusative case. So, object will always be accusative case. Я читаю книгу, я смотрю телевизор, книга, телевизор, they will be accusative case. One more situation when we should use accusative case is when we are talking about direction, like direction of movement, I mean. You should know for verbs, идти, this one, it means to walk, to go. Ходить, same translation. Идти, ходить, it means to go by foot. If you don't know the difference between идти and ходить, just watch my video about it. And after these verbs, we also use preposition. It will be preposition в or на. And of course, accusative case. For example, he goes to market. Он идет на рынок. Рынок, it is the word of masculine gender, it is inanimate object, so we do not change its ending. Another example. Я хожу в театр. Я хожу в театр. In this case, the word театр will be used in accusative case, but actually in our situation, театр, it is just object, it is not person, it is not animal. It will look just like nominative case. And maybe right now you have some confusion, like we use prepositions в and на only when we talk about prepositional case, but no, not only when we talk about prepositional case. In prepositional case, we use these endings to indicate on some location, that object is located somewhere. For example, я в магазине, I'm in the store. I'm here, I'm presenting here, в магазине. But if I want to say I go to store, I will say я иду в магазин. So in this case, with the verb of motion идти, я иду, it is just a form of идти, I will use accusative case. Because after the verbs of motion, we use accusative case when we want to say where we go, which direction. Let's try to say I go to university. Я иду в университет. Masculine gender, университет. But he goes to pharmacy. Он идет в аптеку. Because аптека is feminine gender, and as we remember, feminine gender changes its ending. A will be changed into U. Kids go to school. Дети идут в школу. Because школа, it is feminine gender, and A will be changed into U again. So, it was my short introduction into accusative case. I hope now you have better understandings in which situation we should change the endings, in which situations, like inanimate object, masculine gender, we should not change the ending. If you have some questions, please write them in comments. And of course, follow me in all my social networks and write in comments which video should I record next. That's all for today. Пока-пока!